everybody, welcome back to another episode. Today, I want to go over the 4 reasons your retirement account is not where it should be. I can guarantee you're making these 4 mistakes. Let's jump in. Reason number 1, you are trusting someone else to manage your money for you. Now, I'm going to catch a lot of flack on this. I do think that financial advisors serve a place in everybody's life. The mistake is paying them a percentage of your portfolio. Notice I didn't say percentage of the profit. I said percentage of the portfolio, which means they get compensated, and it's usually 1 to 1.5% of whatever is in your account, no matter how they do. They could literally lose 25% of your money and still collect that 1.5% fee. The other reason why I'm not a big fan of financial advisors is most people don't realize what they're putting your money into. So financial advisors are collecting a 1.5% fee. Then they're putting your money into other funds that also charge a fee. So sometimes you can get up to 3% that's coming off the top of your portfolio every single year, and you don't even know it. People don't even know it because they don't take the time to read all the fine print and the big stack of paperwork that they sign, or the data that they don't read when they scroll through when signing online docs to invest with Fidelity or whoever it is. And you've got to understand that if the stock market is delivering, 8.5% on average, and you take out 3% every single year, that's only 5.5% per year. That's going to add an extra decade to 15 years to get to the number that you want to retire. I encourage every single person, if you have somebody who's managing money for you, ask them 2 questions. Number 1 is, what is your fee? Number 2, what are the fees I'm paying in what you have me invested in? You want to understand that. So if you're paying the advisor 1% fee and maybe it's a 0.5% in whatever they're invested in, take that 1.5% fee and go to Google and type in the effects of a 1.5% management fee on your retirement portfolio. And you can see these charts that have these, exponential growth patterns where the line slowly starts to go up and up and up, more and more and more as it gets further and further to the right. It gets pushed down significantly when you add these fees in here. So I had a conversation recently with my brother because he's got a really good buddy who's a financial advisor, and he's, wanting him to, invest. And I'm like, dude, do you realize that you do not have to pay financial advisors a 1% fee? You can find hourly financial advisors. Now, good ones are going to charge you $200, $300 an hour, but you should be meeting with them quarterly and shelling out a few $1,000 a year to sit down with a financial advisor and make sure that you're on track and making the right decisions. But do not give them a percentage of your money. They did not earn the money. They did nothing to earn the money. They are compensated no matter how your portfolio does. They're taking some off the top no matter how it does. It drives me crazy. But yes, pay hourly for your financial advisors to sit down with them, and there are value that they can. There's some tax strategies that they bring to the table, especially if they work with businesses in your specific niche. So I'm not writing them off altogether, but if you just completely trust someone else to manage your money, mistake number 1, I guarantee you it's one of the reasons why your retirement account is not the way it should. Reason number 2, you are not consistently investing. Now, I'm gonna point the finger right at me. I typically don't invest every single paycheck. That's not how I'm set up. That's not how my business is. Development, we get these huge swaths of cash that come in when we sell these developments, like a big payday. We're usually, real estate rich and sometimes cash poor. And then I take a very generous portion of those proceeds, and I'll start making kind of big investments when I think the timing's right or the opportunity is right. So not consistently investing, I could probably get a lot better at it, but I can tell you that some people go years. They're waiting to hit that home run. They're waiting for that lottery ticket to just pay off, and then they'll start investing. And the biggest reason why this happens to people is because as they make more money in life, as they get promoted, as they get a raise, as they find a better job that pays them more, so does their quality of life improve. I know people who been in $50,000, $60,000 a year, and now they're probably spending $150,000, $200,000 a year, and they're broke. They don't have any money left because they've got all the fancy cars. They've got the fancy cars. They're rich. You can look rich by taking out a lot of debt, but wealthy is what you want to be. When you look underneath the hood, rich people have a lot of debt. They finance their rich lifestyle. If you look under the hood of wealthy people, you'll find a lot of assets, a lot of income producing assets, a lot of things that grow in appreciation. That's what you want. So start consistently investing today. There's a lot of great applications where you can invest literally cents on every dollar that you spend that'll automatically go into a platform that will automatically invest in whatever you have set it to invest in. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be consistently investing today. Number 4, another good reason why your retirement account is not where it should be. You've not educated yourself enough. This is the biggest problem that I see people make. I actually wrote an ebook on our website, hbgcapital.net, titled 100 Questions Business Owners Ask Before Investing. And I wrote that book because I had a phone call one day from an investor of ours who asked if I would speak with his friend. He informed me that his friend had lost all of his investment on a real estate deal in California to a real estate investor that was recommended and wanted to see what his options are. I said, sure. And it was very surprising to hear on that call how green this person was. I mean, they were literally investing in something they knew nothing about. The paperwork wasn't done correctly. There was no securitization. I mean, this guy had nothing. There was no recourse whatsoever. He was absolutely screwed. But I wrote that book thinking if I can prevent this from happening from just one other person, then it will be worth it. And that's the key is if you're going to educate yourself, you really need to understand what questions you need to be asking to get the information you need. Questions are the keys to unlocking the answers you need or the answers that you don't know about. So whatever it is, pick a particular subject, if it's real estate, if it's stocks, if it's bond, whatever it is, and start reading and educating yourself. Start meeting with people who are professionals in the management space with these particular assets, and make sure you understand what the risks are. You should always be asking, what would have to happen for me to break even? What would have to happen for me to make money? Your 3 pillars when it comes to educating yourself is you should be focused in this order. Number 1, preservation of capital. Invest in things that are not going to lose you money, right? All the greats, Paul Tudor, Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, they say rule number 1 is don't lose money. Rule number 2 is don't forget rule number 1. Don't lose money. Focus on capital preservation first. Number 2, return of capital. You don't want your capital being locked up for 20, 30 years. You want to be able to at least get it back at some point. So make sure that you're in something where you actually are going to get your money back and it's not going to be stuck in something. And number 3, return on capital. So again, we want to keep up with inflation. We want to make more than 2-3% per year, but don't forget rule number 1: lose money when you're focused on these extremely 30, 40, 50% return on investment opportunities that are super attractive. When you're watching all of the Bitcoin millionaires buy their car and have killed it on Bitcoin out there, don't sacrifice returns for preservation of capital. Prioritize preservation of capital. Make sure that you educate yourself on the risks of the investment. And finally, number 4, you have not created an actual plan. This is one of the biggest culprits that I see. People don't know where they're going. Literally, it's like being out in a rowboat with no map and you're just rowing, hoping you're going to get somewhere someday. I mean, that's literally people's retirement plan. They're just rowing this boat, not knowing that they've been going in circles for the last 20, 30 years and have pretty much gotten nowhere. You've got to create an actual plan. An actual plan starts with a budget. Sitting down at least monthly with your spouse and preferably getting your kids involved and writing down all the things that you spend. I love to use this app called Empower. It was called Personal Capital. All my credit cards are linked to it. My bank accounts are linked to it, and it feeds everything in, and it auto categorizes everything. And I go in once a month and I make adjustments to some of the categories, and it tells me what I spend and where. And we do the same thing for my wife. You've got to create an actual plan. An actual plan starts with sitting down and creating a budget and looking at what you can trim to start investing. I promise you, there's some stuff out there. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We will see you next time.